October 6th. Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready.
What's up, football fans? It is Friday, October 6th. I'm Kevin Carroll. He's Joe Soprano. We're from TLSportsBetting.com, your one-stop shop for everything you need for a great football Saturday. All the best insight, analysis, picks, and predictions. Everything you might want to get ready for this slate of games, you can find at TLSportsBetting.com. And what a slate of games we have this week at the college and professional levels. A lot of good games, a lot of interesting games on the docket, Joe.
A lot of interesting games. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Notre Dame play this weekend. I think that Notre Dame-Louisville is going to be a great game. Notre Dame, I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but they've impressed me last week coming back against Duke. I didn't think they would, but that's not one of the games I'm going to pick, so we don't have to speak about that.
I feel like you're just trying to jinx them. I feel like because
and
you know how my brain works, and you know you're making me mad right now by saying that. So why don't you start while I compose myself?
All right, well, I'm going to start with the former Notre Dame coach who's taken his LSU Tigers, his 3-2 LSU Tigers, to undefeated Missouri.
Scumbag.
I think Missouri's a 5.5-point underdog. I think they might win this one outright. They'll certainly cover. I'm beginning to believe that, Kelly had this storyline at Notre Dame that he didn't think he could win a championship there because of their high academic standards. He couldn't get the types of athletes he needed. I don't think that was his problem. I think his problem was he's not as good as a coach as he thinks he is. And I think it's going to show up this weekend in Missouri.
I love that take. I wholeheartedly endorse that take. I'm in the Big Ten this week with both my picks, actually. Both my college picks in Big Ten football.
Conference.
We're going to start with the noon kick on Peacock streaming service, the classic game for all the best games on Peacock. I got Rutgers plus 13. They're at Wisconsin. Here's my thing. There's a little bit of math here. The 13 points Wisconsin would have to win by to cover, more than 13. The projected total, 43.5. That's a lot. That's not a lot of points. It's kind of a hard window for Wisconsin to have to fit in to cover 13 points while keeping it right around that 43.5 point total. Rutgers is 4-0-1 against the spread this year. They pushed against Michigan 31-7. They were 24-point underdogs. So basically, they've done everything that the odds makers have expected them to do. I just think it comes down to Wisconsin. They're good. I was definitely a little weary of Wisconsin, and they burnt me against Purdue a couple of weeks ago. They really cooked Purdue, and I had Purdue on that one. But I just don't know if they have the explosive offense with Tanner Mordecai at quarterback to be able to get out to a big lead. And even if they're up 14-17 for a while, you know how those games sort of go. A late touchdown could mean the difference. I kind of like Rutgers. They've been plucky. They've been scrappy this year. I think they'll cover. I don't think they'll win, but 13 points. I'm very comfortable taking those points.
Oddly enough, for my second college pick today, I've got a big underdog in the Big Ten too.
Sure.
I like Maryland getting 19.5 points at Ohio State. I don't think Maryland has a chance of winning this game. I think Ohio State's going to win by at least a touchdown, probably two, but I don't think they cover the 19.5. I think Tua's little brother can put up some points on the board. He's a heck of a quarterback. I don't know that Ohio State's offense has figured it out yet. They seem to struggle every week. And I think 19.5 is just way too many points for what I think is a really solid Maryland team.
Yeah, I think that's a disrespectful line for Maryland, to be honest with you. They've done everything they've been asked to do this year, too. They're looking pretty good. And again, Big Ten. We are a Big Ten video this week. Love the Big Ten. Iowa, the Iowa Hawkeyes, they are 2.5-point favorites at home against Purdue. 3:30 start. Also on Peacock. Is the Big Ten moving every game to Peacock?
They might be. It seems that way.
It's the new Big Ten network. Anyway, I know we all like to make fun of Iowa. We're all watching the 25-point-a-game stipulation on Brian Ferentz's contract. And yeah, they're not a good offensive team. No one's going to say that. Defensively, they're still very strong. They're 4-1. They're not a bad team just because they're ugly and not fun to watch. Sometimes you have to win ugly, especially in the Big Ten West. Purdue, on the other hand, just hasn't been good. They're coming off their best game of the year against Illinois. They hung 44 on Illinois. I think that's more Illinois being really bad. Purdue, just their offense hasn't been there. They're going to struggle. This is probably the best defense they've played to date. And interesting thing for Iowa, Cade McNamara has been their quarterback all year. He tore his ACL. He is out. They have Deacon Hill coming in. He's making his first collegiate start on Saturday. You hear that and you think, well, no, that's going to be trouble for Iowa. I have a different outlook. I think that with an offense that has been just stagnant and, very predictable, what they're going to do, they're not going to be able to light it up. I think it's kind of maybe a good thing to have a new quarterback with a completely blank slate coming in. Now there's a little bit of unpredictability. Like, what's this kid good at? I know he's got a huge arm. We don't know if he's accurate. We don't know if he's mobile. It creates a little bit of questions for Purdue's defense, and I think Iowa will use that to their advantage. Again, they might not score 25 points. I don't think they're going to need to. I think they're going to shut down Purdue.
Well, I'm going to move on to the NFL.
If you go ahead.
And I'm going to go into the NFC East, which is a lot like the Big Ten Conference, a rough and tumble physical conference.
For sure.
And I'm going to go out west, Philadelphia, traveling to SoFi Stadium. They're 4-point favorites over the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams. I know I've gotten burned on this once before going against the Eagles, but the way the Eagles are playing, except for the one game that they beat me on, they just haven't put together a solid 4 quarters of football. And sooner or later, that's going to come back to bite them. And the Rams are a solid football team, and I think this is the week they get knocked off because they're just not playing up to their capabilities. They've got a loaded roster. They should be undefeated, but they haven't played that well. And I think this is the week they get knocked off.
So you're at SoFi Stadium there. I'm going across the pond. I'm going back to London. The Bills, 5.5-point favorites against the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. Classic 9:30 a.m. tip. I don't believe they're doing the Toy Story game for this one, so if you really enjoyed that last week, I'm sorry. But, Bills, 5.5-point favorites. I took the Jags last week, and the Jags won. They won 23-7. They covered relatively comfortably. Watching that game, though, there's still something I can't shake about them. I think we all kind of got really like, oh, the Jags are going to be a juggernaut. The Jags offense is going to be this good. They've been here and there. They have not been super consistent, and they're playing probably the best team they've played. I know the Chiefs. They played the Chiefs, and they played the Chiefs well. But I'm not 100% sold on the Chiefs the way they've played this year either. The Bills, on the other hand, they've clobbered everybody, and most notably last week they clobbered the Dolphins. The Dolphins who are playing like a video game. The Dolphins who are, everyone's darling. Tua was getting the MVP hype. The Dolphins were getting the Super Bowl hype. I still think the Dolphins are really good. I think it speaks to how good this Bills team is. The Jacksonville defense is coming off a performance. They were good against the Falcons, but against Houston 2 weeks ago, they gave up 37 points to a rookie quarterback. I don't know where they're at defensively or offensively. I know where the Bills are at. The Bills, they shook off that week 1 loss. It's tough to win on the road in the division, like they lost to the Jets in New York, in New Jersey, actually. But I think the Bills are just going to roll here. I don't really think it's going to be that close.
Well, for my last NFL pick, I'm staying in the NFC East again. I got the New York Giants traveling down to Miami.
Creature of habit, you are.
And the Giants are a 12-point dog. And I know the Giants looked horrible last week, but I'm taking the Giants, and I'm doing it for 2 reasons. One, I think Barkley will play this week. I've read some things where he's feeling better. They haven't made an announcement yet, but I think he will play. When he plays, Daniel Jones is actually a serviceable NFL quarterback. When he doesn't play, Daniel Jones is a bum. There's no other way to say it. But even when Barkley does not put up big numbers, he affects the defenses in such a way that it opens things up and allows Daniel Jones to get away with the things that made the Giants give him a big contract. So I think Barkley plays. I also think Brian Daboll is a hell of a coach. And after what happened last week, I think he's going to have this team ready to play. I think there's some pride there. And I don't think he's going to let this team get beat that badly 2 weeks in a row. I don't know that they'll win. They probably will lose this game, but I don't see them losing it by 12 points. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I think you'll see Barkley in there. I think you'll see a little bit of offense from the Giants, enough to keep it within 12 points.
For the sake of Giants fans everywhere, I do hope Saquon Barkley plays, because without him, they are a tough watch. They are a tough watch.
I don't know they'd be able to beat the Heights Packers without Barkley on the field.
Last pick for me, the Jets. The Jets are 2.5-point underdogs. They're on the road at Denver. They're taking on the Broncos. This is not a game for the faint of heart. If you really like good football, probably watch something else. But if you like winning, if you like making money, I think you're going to be interested with this one. The Jets last week, they didn't win. They lost. They played the Chiefs, and they played the Chiefs tough. And Zach Wilson, I'm not a believer in Zach Wilson long term. I've been saying it for a couple of years now. I just don't think he has. I think it's his decision making and his mentals are not good enough to keep up in the NFL. But he showed you something, right? Like, he played well against the Chiefs, and he had the Jets in that game pretty much the whole way until he fumbled the snap. But it's neither here nor there. I think going from that game and that atmosphere, that hype, Taylor Swift was in the building. That's tough to play in front of someone like that.
Well, that's got to be a challenge. I would
Yeah.
not want to have to play in front of Taylor Swift.
No.
Once I find out who she is, I'll be even more nervous of having to play in front of her.
You're fronting for the camera. Everyone knows who Taylor Swift is. But anyway, going from that atmosphere to Denver, I know everyone makes that big point. Oh, Denver, the air is thin. But in terms of the actual Broncos football team, they stink. They might be the worst team in the league. I know they beat the Bears, but I don't know. I don't think they should be favored against anybody, no matter who it is, no matter where it is. They should not be a favorite. They have the worst defense in the league. They're okay. I don't want to give them too much credit. Russell Wilson has 9 touchdown passes, so he's been playing pretty well. But they've also been playing from behind so much that they haven't really had a chance to establish the run. Now you got to go in here against the Jets defense with that tough secondary. You're going to have to run the football. You don't know if you're going to be able to do that successfully. Javonte Williams' health has been in question for 5 weeks now. I think the Jets offense will have their best game of the year. They're taking the shackles off Breece Hall. He's been on a snap count these first couple weeks, no more. I think he's going to run roughshod on Denver. And I think if you're a Jets fan and you're feeling a little bit of optimism after last week, it's not going to stop here. I think the Jets are going to put in a good 4-quarter performance, and I think they're going to win outright. I am a coward, though, so I'm going to take the 2.5 points. But if you want to lay a money line, I wouldn't say no.
Isn't it funny that the Jets won the first game of the season, and their fans were also distressed and suicidal after that first game because Aaron Rodgers went down? Now they lost the game last week, and they're all optimistic that things are getting better.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the key. Maybe the Jets fans just really love losing because they're so used to it.
It's tough when you're just so used to being one way. You're almost afraid of success. We've seen it with some teams and with some fan bases. When the chips are there, when they have a chance, you almost you have the comfortability of you know what you know what the Jets are. But I think that the Jets are. I think there's something. I don't think they're terrible. I think Zach Wilson isn't the guy, but I think he has them in a spot where they could win some games and maybe, if not, go to the playoffs themselves. Maybe mess up some other teams in that division. They have a couple more division games left. They're going to be tough in every single one of them. Anything else you'd like to add, sir?
Well, I'd just like to remind everybody that Pat Narduzzi is still the dumbest man in college football, even if Pittsburgh doesn't have a game this week.
I actually heard Pitt is a 3.5-point underdog against the bye week this week.
Well, I heard they had to explain to Narduzzi that, no, we're not playing Brigham Young Educational, that spells bye.
Oh, man. My heart hurts for Phil Dracovic. His career coming to maybe the weirdest possible, and he's going to have to play tight end the last couple weeks. But well, if you're interested in these picks, if you're interested in looking up Notre Dame stuff, Penn State stuff, 2 big games for those 2 teams this week. Penn
State's off.
Penn State's off. 1 big game, Notre Dame at Louisville. That'll be tough. And if you want to learn more about that game as well as some of the pro games, tlsportsbetting.com. It's the best place. It's got everything you need: picks, predictions, analysis, insights. You can see our faces on there. You can read my words on there. Everything you need to get ready for college football Saturday and NFL Sunday and Monday. And then when it comes back around, we got college football games on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Right. Everything you need at tlsportsbetting.com. Thank you, folks, for watching. Have a great weekend and good luck out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we're in a span of 42 straight days with
There's football every day.